January 6th Congressional Committee has released its final report into the deadly Capitol riots. The report concludes former Trump was the central cause of the insurrection, accusing him of engaging in a criminal conspiracy to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Joining us now is CBS News legal contributor and Loyola Law School professor Jessica Levinson. Jessica, it's always great to see you. Let's start with, we know that the committee's final report, it came out after the panel already recommended the DOJ pursue criminal charges against Trump and others. So what impact could this report have on their criminal referrals, if any?
Well, it's a symbolic gesture. So the Department of Justice will and should make its own independent assessment as to whether or not they can walk into a courtroom and prove to a jury beyond a reasonable doubt that the former president did engage in criminal behavior. Having said that, it's a very powerful symbolic statement. And I know that members of the House Select Committee really went up and back about whether or not it would help or harm the Department of Justice to make these recommendations. You don't want the Department of Justice to feel like, well, if we indict, we just look like we're following what the committee wants. On the other hand, members of the committee talked to thousands of witnesses, looked at thousands of pages of documents, and they wanted to say, based on what we see, this does rise to the level of not just immoral behavior or problematic behavior, but criminal behavior. So what happens next? It's up to the independent counsel to make a recommendation to the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, and then he will decide whether to move forward on any of these four charges or potentially other charges that are not being discussed publicly.
Jessica, the committee also released dozens of transcripts from those witnesses you mentioned. This is more than what we heard in the televised hearings. Could any of that potentially lead to legal action against Trump or others?
Absolutely. Great question. And we're seeing, as you said, even more details in this case. So one of the people we've talked about a lot is John Eastman. He's the former dean of Chapman Law School, and he was really the architect of this plan to try and submit slates of fake electors in the Electoral College count. He's somebody who's been mentioned by the January 6th committee. And I think the more that we see witness testimony, the more we have to consider whether or not his behavior also rises to the level of criminal activity. We've also seen members of the former president's inner circle, like Mark Meadows, be mentioned. One other thing to mention here is it's not necessarily just the Department of Justice prosecuting individuals, but we see, frankly, a number of lawyers, I think, engaging in problematic behavior. And we could see potentially those lawyers, those people who counsel the former president, face problems with their state bar. We have seen that already play out with respect to Rudy Giuliani. We could see more of that in the future.
And Jessica, I'm curious, any chance that the work of the January 6th committee, could that impact any of the existing investigations against Trump?
Another great question, because there are so many existing investigations. So I don't see it directly playing a role, for instance, in the investigations in New York dealing with financial crimes of the Trump organization or the Mar-a-Lago investigation. But where you could potentially see a direct impact is that investigation in Georgia, because that is also about election 2020. It's also about potential voter fraud and the idea that, frankly, there was no voter fraud. It's also about the former president of the United States trying to exert a pressure campaign on state election officials and state lawmakers to say, just find those votes. It's part of the same pattern. And the House Select Committee has really outlined a roadmap, not just for the Department of Justice, but potentially in a way that could be useful for state crimes in Georgia as well.
So much to unpack. Jessica Levinson, thank you so much, and happy holidays.
You too. Happy holidays.